Hey, what's up everyone? I am a big fan of the Marvel Netflix series that has been going on. I think they have absolutely been nailing it with the characters. I love Daredevil, I love Jessica Jones, Luke Cage was very good also. But a lot has been said about Iron Fist recently. If you look at the Rotten Tomatoes score, it's on like a 90%. That's probably lower than like any of the Transformers movies. I don't know, I haven't checked, but it probably is. And I was thinking it was kind of affecting me in a way where I was like, I'm not that excited anymore because I was quite excited after seeing Luke Cage, and I knew that it was going to sort of tie in with Daredevil because they had all the hand stuff. Didn't know how big a part they'd play, but I'll get onto that. And you know, I saw all those reviews and everything, and I was like, I don't want to be disappointed by this. I really want to enjoy it. So I thought, hey, I'm not going to listen to it. I'm going to watch it anyway. I'll probably binge it, and I'll hope to enjoy it. And you know what? I did and I didn't. There were things that I liked, there were things I didn't like, which I guess is what you'd expect from anything really. But this show started off really sort of, I was bored in the first couple of episodes. Like, it started off quite well. I was watching it, I was like, okay, I'm quite engaged with this character, Danny Rand. I wasn't like, I don't have the highest knowledge of Iron Fist from the comics, but I knew the basic origins, punching a dragon in the heart, getting the powers of the Iron Fist, I knew about all of that. But I didn't know the entire story of Danny Rand. So I don't know that this is entirely accurate, but for the most part, I know that the origin is. So later on in this video will be a major spoiler talk about a lot of things that happen in the finale and characters and everything. But for now, I'm just going to talk about the basic plot and what I did and didn't like. So it started off, and I was thinking, I hope this isn't the tone for the entire series, because it's all about these boardroom meetings. It's like, will the company go down? Will Danny Rand get his company back? And it's like, yeah, it's interesting to an extent, but I don't want this to be the entire series, because when you watch a show like Daredevil, the fighting, the choreography is absolutely out of this world. It's great. You're watching it and you're like, this is one of the best, TV show fighting sequences ever. And you watch Iron Fist, and at first the fighting's really bland, and like it's just like, you're just watching things happen, and it's like, this isn't what I would have expected from this. It's like, heavily revolves around the martial arts of it all. And it's not really there in the first episode, because there is a fight sequence that takes place in the Rand building, and it's like, that is probably the weakest fight in the entire series. But as it goes on, you can see that it's improved. It's sort of like they were filmed in order. It's what it feels like, because at the beginning, things are happening so slowly, and then towards the end the fighting's really good. You could just say it's character development. It's Danny, picking up on his powers, getting to grips with them more, and that does play into the plot to an extent. But a lot of the time it just happens, and he's fighting, and it's just like, oh well, that's a pretty cool fight sequence, or that was a really boring fight sequence. So that was sort of what started to put me off at the beginning of the show. And it's kind of felt like a chore trying to get through the first few episodes, because watching them, it was just like, not a lot's happening. It's just boardroom meetings, and I wanted some Iron Fist shit, But as it goes on, by episode 6, things get really good and really interesting. So if you remember Madame Gao, who played a big part in season 2 of Daredevil, she wasn't like the biggest presence on screen, but she played quite a big part in this. She's in it a lot more than she was with Daredevil season 2. And there's a lot going around her character. I feel like she's going to be a big part of the Defenders. I feel like she'll be the main villain of the Defenders. But anyway, as it gets into episode 6, there's this trial that Danny has to undergo, and the fighting's great. You're really engrossed into it, and that's what I wanted from the show. And I just feel like if it had done it a bit quicker, I would have liked the show more. But I didn't dislike the show, so that was good. I didn't feel like it deserved a 19%, but at the same time, this is definitely the weakest of the 4 shows that we've had before. So, just bear that in mind, that it's not as good in my opinion, but you might love it. It might be your favourite. I don't know. I don't know who you are, so I can't judge you on your opinions, but, that's just what I got from it. But anyway, from there on, it just gets really good, and the story gets a lot better. There's characters in this that didn't really interest me so much, and then there's characters that did. Like, I thought Ward, what's their last name? Ward Meacham, he was like really slow for the build-up. I mean, he does have a deep character arc, and there are things that really, make you feel for him as a character and other people around him. But he just felt like a bland character to me, and that was the same with Harold Meacham, who was supposedly the villain of the show. Spoilers, I've already said it, but spoilers from this point on. He turns out to be the villain of the show. He was the business partner of Danny Rand's father, obviously of Rand Industries, so he's got a big part in the ownership of Rand Industries, and that's who Danny asked for when he first come back, but we find out he's dead. He's not. He comes back from the dead twice in this show. And yeah, it was like at the end of the thing, I mean, obviously they do end up killing him. Ward shoots him off of a building, and Danny like pushes him into this iron, what do you call it, the scaffolding, and it goes through his chest. And it's like, I was just watching it thinking, he'll probably just be back in the Defenders anyway, so what was the point in doing that? But yeah, I like Joy Meacham. She was quite good. She had more of an emotional. I mean, Ward had the storyline that you would have thought it would have been the emotional storyline and everything like that, but she really delivered. And I feel like her character was a lot better acted, and I felt more for her character than I did for Ward. Colleen was a really good character. I liked her a lot. I wanted to partner up with Misty Knight from Luke Cage like they did in the comics. That'd be really good. I'd like to see those two together. They're both pretty badass. I liked her as Danny's love interest. And then we meet Kabuto, who, like, it was weird because all of the other shows have a really good villain. Well, Luke Cage didn't have a strong villain, but it had its focus on who the villain was. But, you know, when you've got Wilson Fisk in your universe and Kilgrave in your universe, this show had about 4 different villains. The main 2 being Kabuto and Howard Meacham. They were both really sort of just forgettable. You know, the story with Danny Rand is engrossing and you do enjoy it as it goes on and it gets better and better. But the story with the villains in this, it really does show that the villain makes the show better. Because, Kilgrave was my favourite part of Jessica Jones. He's probably the reason it's one of my favourite, if not the best, Netflix original series out there. Wilson Fisk, brilliant. You know, Frank Castle for the first half of Daredevil season 2, he was great. I mean, he's not really a villain, but he had that villainous side to him where you would more, think that he'd be opposing against Daredevil. So it was like all of these characters were so much better than the villains that we got here. Or you could argue that Madame Gao was the main villain of this and the Hand were the main villains. But it was just the fact that there's so many of them that there's not really a focus and you don't feel the emotional impact of Danny going against them, and you don't feel like they really pose a huge threat because he's got the Iron Fist, so he'll just defeat them. But I liked it when they got to the later part of the season and Danny actually lost the power of his Iron Fist. I mean, it was never explained how he really got it back, but he lost the power of the Iron Fists, and it was like, yeah, it's kind of interesting because we can see that he's still a very good fighter going up against these, against the Hand Gang and everything. But it's like, he doesn't need the Iron Fist, but then he gets it anyway, so it's like, okay, whatever, sure. So I like that they went in that route sort of a little bit. But yeah, I will say that this definitely, if you're coming straight off the, bandwagon of Jessica Jones and Daredevil, Luke Cage, I guess, felt like a little bit of a slower burn. And I did enjoy Luke Cage a lot. I thought it was a very good show. But then you move into this one, Iron Fist, and it just sort of, it grinds to a halt for a bit. And it's just sort of like, yeah, I guess it had to happen to set up the Defenders, and it does do a good job. It got me excited for the Defenders. I mean, even Claire Temple in the show felt a bit off. She's like the annoying friend. There's like this one scene where Danny and Colleen are in like a dojo and he buys her takeout, and then she's like, can I join you guys? And it's like, okay, you're the annoying third wheel here. But that's not how I perceived Claire in Luke Cage, for example. So, it's kind of like Claire Temple was just in there to be in there, and she just felt like she was along for the ride, and she just kind of felt annoying in this. I'm not saying that Rosario Dawson gave a bad performance in this one. I'm just saying she didn't really need to be in it, apart from the fact that she's in every other Defenders show, so I guess you have to. But I am looking forward to seeing how she plays into the Defenders. It'll be awkward with Matt Murdock there and Luke Cage there. And I did like the Easter eggs that they had in this. There's this one scene where they're trying to gather information, and Joy Meacham's like, oh, I hired a PI. She was great when she was sober. And I was like, that's Jessica Jones. And Madame Gao mentions Daredevil and Luke Cage by name. And there's this one scene where Claire gives Danny a t-shirt to wear because he's been injured, and she patches him up. And I think it was Luke Cage's t-shirt, has a bullet hole in it and it's miles too big, so I'm guessing it was Luke Cage's t-shirt. So little nods like that I did like. I mean, again, they're actually referencing the Hulk and the events of New York and the Avengers, which I guess is still happening in people's minds. I don't know how long ago this takes place after the Avengers, though. This could take place directly after, because there's no real connection to other films like Age of Ultron or Doctor Strange or anything like that. And you would have thought maybe that people would have heard of all of this sort of stuff. Or, they could have easily referenced Spider-Man with Wilson Fisk being in this universe, and they never do, really. So it's like, with things like that, you never really get the deeper connection, so maybe it takes place right after the Avengers, you never know. But overall, Iron Fist wasn't a show that I thought was amazing. I didn't love it. I liked it for what it was. I don't feel like all the hate it's getting was deserved, but I can see where people are coming from. It's a lot slower than the others. It takes a lot of time to get where you want to go, but when you get there, you get there. The fight sequences do end up being spectacular. It's great to see Danny use his Iron Fist, but it's like he doesn't use it for a very long time until you get into the series, so it's like, watching it, you're sort of thinking, okay, he's got the power of the Iron Fist. He's talked about it a lot. We've never seen him use it. But when he does use it, he uses it, and it's great. It's great to see things happen. I like the relationship between him and Colleen, and I really want to see how Iron Fist plays into the wider universe and how he interacts with Jessica Jones and Daredevil and Luke Cage, especially Luke Cage. I want to see the dynamic between those two, because if it's anything like the comics, it's going to be great, and it's going to add a sort of much-needed lightheartedness to this universe. So yeah, Iron Fist overall, the characters were fine. I mean, probably my least favourite character was Ward Meacham, and he's the one that they try and put the most on you with. You know, he's a drug addict, he's struggling with that, he's struggling with father issues and everything, and he's the one that they really do try and focus on throughout and get you to really side with, but I never really did. I was more on the side of Colleen and Joy. I like those two, so yeah. Overall, Iron Fist isn't great, like I said, but it's still very enjoyable, and if you're excited for the Defenders, definitely check this out because it will get you excited. The ending again ends on a cliffhanger, which all of the shows have, I guess. Like Daredevil ended with the whole Elektra thing. Luke Cage, he got arrested. With this one, they sort of go back to the original place, Kunlun, where Iron Fist is from, or Danny Rand is from. And all of the, warriors have been murdered or whatever. Actually, their hand. So maybe it's like they're part of the hand, the warriors from the temple. I don't know what they were trying to imply there. But it feels like they will be more solo things. And I don't know if they'll lead into the Defenders. But the Defenders will probably, like, the rest of these series will be happening after the Defenders. So I don't know if the Defenders will have anything to do with any of these cliffhangers. But I'm looking forward to seeing where they end up. Also, I did like that they had the original origin, because watching it throughout, I mentioned it at the beginning, I never mentioned what the origin was if people don't know, but they had the original origin come in towards the end of this show, and it's that Danny Rand plunges his hands into the heart of the dragon, Shao-Lao, and he gets the powers of the Iron Fist. It's very different here. His friend Davos comes back, and he's like, yeah, we I didn't get picked for the trials, you did, so you need to harness the powers of the Iron Fist and save us all. And the way that happened was sort of like, yeah, I can see that they're trying to go with the origin, but they never mention that thing. And they do show the dragon's eyes, but you never actually see him. And I get that they've got a low budget, but it just felt like a bit of a cop-out. But I'm glad they kept the original origin mostly intact. So that was good. So yeah, let me know what you think of Iron Fist. Do you hate it like some critics do, or did you really enjoy it? Let me know where it ranks among yours. Currently, mine is starting off with Jessica Jones. This is best to worst. Daredevil Season 1, Daredevil Season 2, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. That's where I'm ranking mine. But let me know where Iron Fist ranks with you. And I'll be back very soon. Got some movies to see on Friday, so I'll be reviewing those at the weekend, so look out for that. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon.